Thank you for joining us on News 360. It is coming to you live from Adesawe Kanda in Accra. I am Aisha Yakubu Halid.
And I am Martin Esiedudate. Coming up for the next 1 hour.
News 360 Headlines is brought to you by
Flamingo Paint. Superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage, simply superior.
Division within opposition NDC deepens after some MPs defied party directive to approve new ministers.
Also tonight, we focus on the plight of teachers on island schools in the Adan East District.
Mission Tonight throws the spotlight on the implementation of the re-entry policy by the Ghana Education Service.
On the international front, Ukraine's commander-in-chief says battle for Bakhmut, the Ukrainian city which Russia has spent months trying to capture, is stabilizing. Do get interactive with us and be a part of the show. We are live around the world on 3news.com, also on DSTV channel 279. Details of our stories now.
On March 15, a portion of the redeveloped KJTR market in Kumasi was gutted. By far beyond commiserations, the disaster scene has been turned into a political battlefield. Here's a report by William Evansinkum.
On Monday, March 20, Vice President Bawumia visited the Bent market with some MPs, a fertile ground to pitch a campaign message. The Queen Mother of the market did not mince words.
It was Nana Akufo-Addo and Dr. Bawumia who introduced free SHS.
On March 24, it was the turn of his closest contender, former Trade and Industry Minister Alan Kwadwo Kyerematen, flanked by scores of people who believe he has the magic wand of turning the messy economy around.
It's overwhelming. Even in their grief, I'm humbled by this massive show of affection and love and support.
100,000 cities to the affected traders.
So, we could 100,000 Ghana cities. And also so
a moment to draw the government's attention to one project which could cost the ruling party votes.
To the thousands of traders at the KJTR markets, that is the second phase of the redeveloped KJTR market, will be a bargaining chip going into the 2024 general elections.
One of the market queen mothers did not mince words.
The second phase of the KJTR market project has stopped and nobody is saying anything. The government must act now because this can cause the party's defeat in the next election.
The second phase of the new KJTR market is 60% complete. However, work has halted because of lack of funds. The contractor has already left site, leaving the rest of the project hanging. William Evans Inkum, TV3 News, Kumasi.
And as your election command center, will definitely be updating you on subsequent political developments in the Ashanti region. We are staying here on issues of politics because the latest appointment of 3 new members of the Electoral Commission by President Akufo-Addo has raised concerns about the likelihood of future biases. In this 3 News Explainer, my colleague Judith Awachitando and producer Dennis Poaberi-Wedam, they've delved into the issues that have arisen as far as concerning the appointment of these 3.
Appointments to Ghana's electoral management body, the Electoral Commission of Ghana, has always been a thorny issue characterized by suspicions that the appointing authority will handpick persons sympathetic to the cause of their political parties. Learning from history, it's almost predictable that such appointments will always set tanks wagging. The furor that greeted President Akufo-Addo's latest appointment of 3 members of the Electoral Commission to replace retiring members of the 7-member commission is only a testament of how sensitive the matter has become. With less than 2 years to elections, no party wants to take chances. But the president trusts these appointees will deliver on their mandate.
The 3 persons are persons I am confident will bring integrity, professionalism, and independence and fairness of mind to the discharge of their duties. Remember that now, more than ever, every single decision you take will be scrutinized to the letter. That, however, should not scare you, and indeed, let no one try to cower you into submission.
But who are these appointees? That is Reverend Ikea Ofori-Boateng, the Director of Programs for the Anglican Diocese of Accra, a member of the United States Trade Advisory Committee on Africa, who served on the 2020 Eminent Advisory Committee of the Electoral Commission of Ghana. Hajia Salima Ahmed Tijani is a banker, a senior remittance officer at the Agricultural Development Bank, and also a member of the Chartered Institute of Bankers and associate member of the Boardroom Institute. Dr. Peter Piahene is an assistant professor, experienced in computer science, head of Department of the Science and Informatics at University of Energy and Natural Resources, UNER, in Sunyani. Word also has it that he is a patron of TESCON, UNER Capture, and one of 6 who were shortlisted to be appointed as Bono Regional Minister. It is his appointment which has particularly come under immense criticism.
We must all be concerned. As journalists, you must be concerned. As religious leaders, we must be concerned. Civil society must be concerned that there are some institutions that we call them independent bodies. And right from the commencement of this very 4th Republic, all presidents we have had have worked so hard to keep such institutions as much as possible away from partisanship. But this current president have decided to desecrate all these independent institutions, including the Electoral Commission, and have arranged to pack it with known faces, known activists of New Patriotic Party.
And there are those who insist no harm is caused. NPP National Organizer Henry Nana Boakye explains Dr. Peter's engagement with TESCON was merely platonic and cannot compromise his neutrality. He said, quote, Dr. Piahene only engaged with TESCON on UNER campus as a resource person, not a patron. He has never been a patron per my checks. His NPP affiliation does not compromise the EC's neutrality. He is a professional, competent and experienced enough to discharge his work, and he is going to be neutral, unquote. But political science lecturer at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, Professor Samuel Ejijemfi, is of the view that the appointment does not augur well for the commission.
The Electoral Commissioner herself and other members of the commission, they all do vote during the day of election. However, it is anticipated or envisaged that in their conduct, when they are presiding over elections and playing any form of role in that respect, they will be seen to be doing no wrong and to be doing no harm. It creates a state of dissonance before even the day of election, and these things should not be encouraged.
Former President and National Democratic Congress flag bearer, hopeful John Dramani Mahama, believes it's about time the Constitution is amended to avert such situations.
The Electoral Commission has become topical The appointment of known party activists onto the Electoral Commission by our current president may require an amendment of Article 43(2) to provide for parliamentary approval of new commissioners appointed onto the commission.
No matter the reservations, one thing is certain, that President Akufo-Addo has exercised a constitutional right under Article 70 of the 1992 Constitution, and he seems convinced that these members of the Commission have next to nothing to do in determining the electoral fortunes of any party. For him, voters decide elections, not the Electoral Commission.
Elections are about those who cast the vote, not those who count, not those who supervise, not those who transmit, and not those who declare. The heart of the democratic process is giving effect to the choices made by those who cast the vote.
This development is not the first of its kind. The dismissal of Charlotte Osei as EC chair and her two deputies, Amadou Sule and Georgina Opoku-Amankwa, by President Akufo-Addo in 2018, and the after events of appointing Jean Mensa, Bossman Asari, Samuel Teta, and Adjoa Esuama Ebrifa, was perhaps a major development which sowed seeds of mistrust which has persisted for years. The NDC has since not had a good working relationship with the EC. They would later boycott the Inter-Party Advisory Committee meetings for what they say is an open bias by Jean Mensa-led commission against the NDC. As the umpire of elections in the country, the EC's job is a delicate one, and the law purposefully sets up the commission as an independent body to be able to discharge its duties without influence, directly or indirectly. However, the 7 members of the commission under Article 43 of the 1992 Constitution are appointed by the President on the advice of the Council of State. To the extent that the role of the Council of State is merely advisory and not binding on the President, many see the appointments to an expression of the President's personal desires. Strangely, the law emphasizes on the independence of the Commission, but says nothing about the independence of persons who can be appointed. One only needs to be qualified to be elected as a Member of Parliament per Article 94 of the 1992 Constitution to be eligible to be appointed a member of the Commission. And that is the concern for the lot who advocates that the law be looked at again and reformed to ensure the Commission's constitutional independence.
Let's now do some politics, where the Member of Parliament for Asawase, Mohammed Muntaka Mubarak, is likely to face stiff competition in the parliamentary primaries. Masaudu Mubarak, who missed the opportunity to contest the MP in the last election, has re-emerged. This time, he has successfully filed his nomination with high hopes of unseating the 5-time parliamentary candidate of NDC in Asawase.
In the company of Asawase constituency chairman, some branch executives, Masaudu arrived at the regional party office to file his nomination. This time around, he was able to successfully submit his forms without any stress. Masaudu says he is bringing on board new and better initiatives to improve the lives of Asawase constituents and develop the area.
There's a lot of issues with his sense of vision. When I say vision, you know, the mind has an eye. I see that he's clouded when it comes to which direction he should steer the affairs of the constituency. That is one. So over the years, we haven't been able to see a clear roadmap of development for the constituency. I did indicate before that the Asawase seat presents the Asawase MP with unique opportunities. Today, many times when you hear Asawase in the news, you hear it for the wrong reasons. I'm saying that I'm coming to correct them. I'm saying that I'm coming to add value to the youth of Asawase. So tomorrow when you hear Salifu or Sedu or Mohammed being mentioned in the news, it is because he is gaining accolades for Ghana. It is because he is contributing his quota to the development of Ghana, and not because he has committed a crime or he has gone to do armed robbery or he is doing drug addiction. That is why. That is what I'm intending.
Meanwhile, the incumbent MP, Muntaka Mubarak, has also filed his nomination form awaiting the contest. Asawasi has been a safe seat for the National Democratic Congress since its creation in 2004. The incumbent Member of Parliament, Muntaka Mubarak, was elected in 2005 in a by-election after the death of the MP, Jibril Adamu Muhammad.
We have some more political stories for you at your election command center here on TV3 and on all our major platforms. But let's take a step away from that for now, because lack of canoe for island school teachers is negatively impacting on educational activities on island schools in Adan East District. Joseph Armstrong visited some island communities in the Adan East District and has filed this report.
Fishing is the main source of livelihood for inhabitants of island communities in the Adan East District of the Greater Accra region. There is high literacy rate here. Children are exploited and used as cheap labor in fishing. Despite efforts put in by some professional teachers to help the children, several challenges are making it difficult for effective academic work. These include the lack of boats to transport teachers from inland areas where they live and lack of adequate school infrastructure. The March 18 canoe disaster at Azania and Azakpe in the Adan East District of the Greater Accra region has exposed how some teachers on the island schools risk their lives daily before reaching their schools. The teachers told the news team about safety issues and how some of the boats they travel in leak. They also told of experiences where at times boats ran out of fuel in the middle of the journey. Roslyn, a teacher at Pediatokopi Basic School, one of the island schools in the Adan East District. She lives at Big Adan and crosses the Volta River daily to commute to school due to lack of teachers' bungalow close to the school. All commercial canoes had already left when she got to the riverside. Roslyn and her colleague teacher, Albert, and some pupils were left with no option than to paddle themselves to school. Unfortunately, it was a rainy morning, making it impossible for them to continue the journey.
Most of the times when you get here and then you miss the canoe with the machine, you only, if you miss the canoe with the machine, it means you are supposed to take the one with the paddle. So that's what we usually do. So it depends. When you are lucky for a canoe with a machine, you just board it. If it's not, you just have to pick the one with the paddle.
No, we don't risk crossing over. When we realize the storm and the wind is too high, we just stay or don't go at all.
This is what that teaches here goes through every day. Unlike me wearing these life jackets, we are told that all the life jackets given to the teachers is not the right kind of life jacket they are supposed to be using. The next day, Roslyn managed to get to school joining a passenger canoe. She narrates some of her previous experiences traveling on the Volta River.
Let's say we were having a school boat that's conveying us to and fro daily. It wouldn't have been a challenge. But since we don't have, we have to wait for the passengers' boats. And these ones, most of their machines are faulty. And some boats are leaking and all that. It puts our lives in danger every single day. And we have to deal with all that to come to this school only because we love those kids and we want to impact some knowledge in them.
Other teachers shared similar sentiments.
Teachers not having their own accommodation on the island. Currently, some teachers are pairing with the nurses' bungalow that they have, which also comes with other challenges as well. There's no lighting system when you even want to teach an IT lesson and taking the children out.
When I was posted here, I heard the name Pedagogy. So I just googled it on my phone, right? Like Adan. So the scenery they didn't show me the riverside, as you know. So I came here, that was in January last year, to find my post. But when I came, I had to cross. My first time, I was really, really scared. Because I was imagining in my head, I don't know how to swim. And then I'm encountering this.
There is so much risk involved in crossing the river. Anything at all can happen. And I even have evidence of boats that leak. And you imagine what will happen if the whole boat is full of water. So for me, I think risk allowance is one of the major allowances I will personally go for.
Some pupils of the Pedagogy Basic School also expressed displeasure on the challenges their teachers are faced with.
The teachers don't have boats, they are personal boats. So sometimes they are late. Even some of the students over bank, they will go and borrow canoe from other people before they brought it to school.
They need life jacket too, because crossing the river is very dangerous.
Later, a visit to the Adan East Educational Office confirmed the ordeal of the teachers.
They are actually suffering in many things, and it's our hope that somebody or through your medium will get a support so that they can feel comfortable there. If not both, right, if we get accommodation on the island that the teachers can stay, not crossing every day up and down, we'll be happy.
Do they have any risk allowance at all?
If they have, then it will be on paper. I've not heard any of them enjoying anything like that.
Do you think, you're in charge of schools, do you think it is right for them to be given risk allowance?
Yes, they should be given.
According to them, all efforts to get support from the district assembly has not been successful.
If they can help the schools with boats, because there are times when they get to the river bank and there is no boat, they have to come back. So we are pleading if they can support us so that we get boats, life jacket and accommodation for our teachers on the island.
The district assembly denied receiving letters from the education service seeking for help.
GES saying they needed boats for each school. Unfortunately, from our records, we've not received a letter like that, indicating that GES is requesting for boats for each of the schools on the island. But if it is so, the assembly will look into it and we will make necessary processes and see how best we can provide the boats for teachers who ply between the islands and Adan to be able to move freely.
The assembly added plans are underway to ensure the safety of teachers in island schools until the Ghana Education Service and Adan East District Assembly collaborate to ensure the welfare and safety of teachers and pupils who commute on the Volta River on a daily basis. The teachers will continue to risk their lives whilst rendering their services to Mother Ghana.
Where are you running to?
And now to another issue that has been very topical. There has been widespread condemnation for NDC MPs who broke rank and voted for the approval of the ministerial nominees. Former President John Dramani Mahama, in his disappointment, is asking for soul-searching. Minority Leader KCL Atoforsen says there's still an opportunity for the caucus to work together. My colleague Noble Crosby-Annan has more of the aftermath of Friday's voting in this report.
Disappointment, sabotage, parochial interest. These words have been some of the visible in the reaction to a vote in Parliament that past ministers put forward by President Akufo-Addo despite the intense effort by the National Democratic Congress to stall it. When key ministers at the Trade Ministry and Agriculture left their roles to pursue their separate presidential ambitions, the National Democratic Congress saw their moment to highlight a point they have been making for years, that the size of government was too big. For them, this was the time to act to reduce it. So the NDC issued an order to its MPs that none of the ministers nominated to fill roles at the Trade, Agriculture and Chieftaincy Ministry should be approved. The new General Secretary of the NDC, Fifi Kwete, was in no doubt that the MPs will tell the party line. Not for the first time. The party didn't have their way after the disaffection from previous happenings, according to many observers, triggered a change in parliamentary leadership of the NDC. The change, according to Fifi Kwete, was to reposition and strengthen the party in parliament.
The leadership of the NDC is concerned about the well-being of the party, and that well-being of the party continues to be our major drive, and will never relent on our effort to make sure that the party remains supreme, and the well-being and the interests of the millions of our supporters, and the well-being of Ghana, for that matter, continue to be secure.
Yet, in the aftermath of the vote on the ministers, there is a sense, at least from one MP, that it did the opposite. Mutala Mohammed says timing for change in minority leadership was wrong. He's asking what was the basis of changing our parliamentary leadership. It's obvious from the reaction of NDC MPs on social media that the latest episode of the ministers has caused divisions and anger within the party, and none epitomizes that than MP for Cape Coast South, Kweku Ricketts-Hagen, who has made strong claims against the members who went against the party stance.
It was a clear undermining of Honorable Atufosin's leadership as a punishment to the party, and number two is to do with greed.
Greed?
Yes, on the part of some of our MPs.
NDC MPs?
NDC MPs, yes. There are some people who don't see the collective interests of what we are trying to achieve as a party, and that they are more interested in themselves making money as quick as they can.
So what you're saying is that some NDC MPs were bribed, they took money?
Absolutely, no doubt.
But for Director of Communications at the NPP, Richard Ahiagba, the approval of the ministerial nominees, despite the initial threat of the minority, represent giant steps in consolidating the country's democracy.
I think yesterday was a good day for democracy, to the extent that people would vote their conscience. What really carried the day yesterday was people realizing that there is a need to make our democracy work.
Describing the two sides of the House as monumental disappointments, senior lecturer at the Political Science Department at the University of Ghana, Professor Ransford Jampos advised NDC MPs to stop the bitterness that was occasioned by the previous minority leaders and support the new leadership.
It is politically smart on their part for them to cut such bitterness and to offer sincere support to the new leadership, because they will need the support of this new leadership in their future and bigger political future, in their future and bigger political plan. Okay, so those who are being led or influenced by bitterness to attempt to sabotage the current minority leadership must know that they would need the same minority leadership, their support, in their quest to climb higher the ladder of political progression tomorrow. Both the minority side and majority side are a monumental disappointment to our quest to promote Parliament's role or to strengthen Parliament's role as a countervailing authority to the powers of the executive.
Lawyer and political commentator Martin Pigbo is in no doubt the MPs who failed to see reason in the NDC argument and send a message to President Akufo-Addo have let the country down.
Probity. So we need to have that honesty. We need to have integrity. We need to what? Protect the public purse. So what better way can the MPs ensure the ideals of this constitution than by voting against the appointment? Because now it's like we are also weak. We are cowards. We're just sitting there and Akufo-Addo alone is just scaring us, throwing himself around, and we are just quiet because it's so despicable.
But can the NDC and its leadership in Parliament bounce back after this monumental backstabbing? Minority Leader Kaisel Atufosin thinks so, saying, "I believe we can still work together to achieve our goals." For that to happen, former President John Dramani Mahama is in no doubt one important thing must happen. He says, those responsible for this betrayal must do some serious soul-searching and learn to place national interest over personal interest. From approval of ministers in the past, the debate over whether to pass the e-levy, the fate of Ken Ofori-Atta as finance minister, and now the approval of a new set of ministers, it is obvious that even in an incredibly tight parliament, what the ruling government wants, the ruling government gets.
That's a report put together by Noble Crosby and certainly in the political era, we'll be giving you more of such analysis and news desk reports for you to be part of the national conversation. Let's take our attention to some sad news that happened earlier today where several persons have died in a car accident on the Kpong-Tema Road in the Lower Manya-Krobo municipality of the Eastern region. 2 others who got injured are receiving care at the Akuse Government Hospital. The accident involved a Hyundai minibus with registration number GB 464420 and an articulated truck with registration number GT 647321. Eyewitnesses say the Hyundai driver ran into a stationary Kia Grandbird bus with registration number GW 646422 before veering off the road to hit the articulated truck. The Hyundai minibus was traveling from Dwapong to Tema, while the truck was carrying pavement blocks from Tema heading towards Akonsombo. Personnel from Akuse Police Command, Ghana Fire and Ambulance Services helped in the rescue effort. The bodies of the deceased have so far been deposited at the Akuse Government Hospital morgue. In other news, it used to be £4, 4 shillings a bottle of schnapps and a young man could take his wife home. But in modern times, you can find anything on the marriage list, including expensive gadgets, property, and huge sums of money. In our Ghana Man series, Grace Hamwa Ajiman has been finding out the evolution of the marriage list, its possible impact on marriage longevity.
Marriage is designed for the mature and those who are ready to shoulder the responsibilities involved. In most parts of the country, once a man gets what is called the engagement list, then he has shown the sign that he's truly committed to his intention. A modern-day list consists of items including wax prints, Bible, ring, cooking utensils, drinks, money, and sometimes appliances and other gadgets. Mr. Nelson Ofori has been married for 48 years and tells me he gave close to nothing for his wife.
Na krubia wana mamra yede oba ho ade. Bibie ni ho biu. Ye mamre no ni eji pon 9 and it's 9. ACDs 40%.
I gave just a bottle of schnapps, and the money I could afford was £4. So I added that and married my wife.
Schnapps, 2 bottles.
He recently led his nephew to take a wife. He confirms the items on the list have drastically changed.
There's no doubt the items for marriage has changed, but I always advise young people to do what is in their means.
His wife, Antia Santua, advocates moderation when the list is being prepared. What we see these days is very costly. We have 4 daughters, and we gave all of them out in marriage without giving a list. For many young people who are preparing for marriage, this is certainly a subject of concern.
Young men nowadays are trying so hard to get something to set up a family. And with these price listings and these amounts that they are collecting, even sometimes when you look at the occasion itself, just for the engagement. You think about it and you see the money that is being pumped inside could actually be used for a lot of things. We would even benefit that kind of family.
Everyone wants a beautiful occasion. If the money is there, why not? If it is not too, it's fine. At the end of the day, love wins. By say Odokakra, Sikansu Kakra.
Mr. Fori fears too much demand from the bride's family sometimes can be an impediment toward the longevity of the marriage.
And I'm sound listing semi sunti. A mabebre our academy. If you say, Sardina original, or Dobano, Nabusian to say, or Bono investi.
Demanding too much from the family can be an impediment to the marriage. Families should not see the marriage as an avenue to make money.
Sardina would say Sicano. Emwa.
Well, one man's meat, they say, is another man's poison. And for Araba, an event planner and deco expert, this new normal is a good employment avenue.
Nowadays, often people are getting married like almost every week, so you get it from each and every side. Yes, people do book.
She's mostly inundated with engagement item wrapping orders.
It ranges from 800 to 1,005, but then it goes extra when the person wants it extremely beautiful, like a luxury or yes.
After you have mobilized the funds to get all the items on the list, its acceptance is dependent on the answer to this question.
Sit down, my darling.
The conversation around the items on the marriage list is one that is not ending anytime soon. But the caution is cut your coats according to your cloth. After all, it is the union that matters the most. Grace Hamwajiman, TV3 News, Accra.
Mrs. Ajiman,
yes,
Martin
Grace
no
Ajiman.
Great report there.
Yeah. I'm actually looking at someone's list right now.
That's how yours look like.
You're still watching News 360. Stay with us. We have more for you after this.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to demonstrate to you the superior properties of Flamingo paint as compared to other paint brands on the market. We take equal quantities of Flamingo paint and this ordinary paint. We then dilute them with water. And now, let the test begin. The gentleman on the left is going to apply the ordinary paint, and the gentleman on my right will use the Flamingo superior paint. As you can clearly see, Flamingo has the obvious better hiding. Furthermore, Flamingo has painted a much larger area. You know, one bucket of Flamingo paint is equal to several buckets of any other paint brand on the market. Flamingo paint is made with superior formulation to give superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage. Flamingo paint, simply superior.
The sweet scent of rose in the morning brings me so much joy. Inspired by damask rose and infused with 100% natural rose oil. Introducing new Clean Soft Perfume Beads washing powder. It's like bringing a garden with you everywhere with this wonderful perfume. Take a garden with you everywhere you go with Clean Soft Perfume Beads washing powder.
Are you tired of struggling with bad financial situations? At Quick Credit, we understand the difficulties that come with transitioning to a better one. That's why we're here to simplify the process for you. With loan facilities from 1,500 cedis upwards, all you have to do is call and we will take care of the rest. All you need is your national ID. No savings, no collateral, no susu, no deposits, and no account opening required. Quick Credit has you covered. Whether you're expanding a business, starting a new one, facing an emergency like school fees or funeral expenses, or even just in need of a salary loan. What are you waiting for? Call Quick Credit today, 0302 200 390 or 059 692 0833. We do not give loans via the internet. Quick Credit is regulated and licensed by the Bank of Ghana. Terms and conditions apply. Quick Credit. Lending made simple.
Welcome back to News 360. Now, children in cocoa growing communities will no longer have difficulties accessing education at distant communities. This follows the implementation of a mobility project by Child's Rights International and Modeler's Cocoa Life, which provides tricycles to children to convey people to and from school.
Statistics from the 2021 Population and Housing Census indicate that in excess of 1.2 million children between age 4 and 17 are not in school. Out of the figure, 942,000 of them have never been to school. In especially rural communities, some children will not go to school because they cannot trek long distances to access basic formal education. This has dwindled enrollment in many schools. In a bid to tackle the issue, Child Rights International, with funding from Modeler's Cocoa Life, is implementing the Children's Mobility Project to boost attendance. The project is being piloted in 3 cocoa growing districts: West Achim in the Eastern region, Setra East in the Ashanti region, and Ewutu Breku in the Central region. 10 modernized tricycles with safety gears have been distributed to communities to convey pupils to and from school.
The committee will manage this so that there won't be any misuse. The thing too is that for the vehicles, once they start operating and making some money, bringing in income, we are hoping that they will use the income to buy more for themselves. This is a pilot.
Womasi in the West Achim municipality hosted the launch of the project. Bright Appiah is Executive Director of Child Rights International.
And we considered 6 kilometers and then 4 kilometers to where a school is. The purpose is basically to assist them as a means of, to have a means of transportation to get to the various schools, so that one, they would avoid all the difficulties that they go through to access education. They would also get to school early. They can close early to also come home to come and continue their studies. And we are doing this because we want to ensure that we enhance or increase quality of education in the rural communities.
Municipal Chief Executive for West Achim said Odrobuedu cautioned against the use of the tricycles for unintended purposes.
Now, it is meant for carrying children from one end to another end for education purposes. For that reason, we don't expect the community to now deviate from the purpose of which these machines were acquired, especially using these machines to carry corpses or dead bodies.
The mobility project is expected to be scaled up to cover 900 communities to ensure children access education with ease.
Now, the Petroleum Commission has assured it will continue to support offshore indigenous companies to provide technical support to the oil and gas industry. Chief Executive Officer of the Petroleum Commission, Egbert Fable Jr., has been speaking at the inspection and handing over of locally manufactured oil and gas equipment, P6 manifold, by an indigenous Ghanaian company.
Ghana's oil and gas industry has depended mostly on imports for its equipment. The production of the P6 manifold by an indigenous Ghanaian company, Osam Oil and Gas Limited, is therefore great news for the industry. At the inspection and handing over of the equipment to Tullow Ghana, the Chief Executive Officer of Petroleum Commission, Egbert Fable Jr., commended Osam Oil and Gas Limited for their swift intervention. He added that this has helped Ghana to cut costs of importing equipment.
So as I was saying, it means a lot for Ghana. If these multi-million-dollar, fabrications had been done outside Ghana, the costs would have gone high and would have been passed on to Ghana. Here we are, we have had them fabricated here, so the cost has reduced that increases government take. Also, in addition, you see about 300 plus people have worked on it, and about 280 of them are Ghanaians. It shows that the localization agenda, the local content agenda is on course, and we cannot but applaud it and ask that, like we want to see more, and the Commission will ensure that a lot more of such initiatives are done in Ghana.
Deputy Managing Director of Osam Oil and Gas Limited, Kofi Nyame-Mensah, was happy about his company's intervention in the oil and gas industry.
The testament of this project is being able to show that this work can be done in Ghana. That's the most important thing. Whether it's suction piles, whether it's jumpers, goosenecks, manifolds, splitter manifolds, the whole subsea infrastructure, we are able to do it. And this is a living testimony.
In a related development, the welding inspector at Osam Oil and Gas Limited, Olivia Adodanso, has encouraged females to be bold in venturing into male-dominated fields.
Honestly speaking, being in the male-dominated field can be a little challenging sometimes, but I think that it takes a lot of energy and a zeal to be able to thrive in such an industry dominated by male, because sometimes they are going to look down on you as a female to be able to do the job and all that, but gladly we are proving them wrong. So it's not easy, but we are sailing through. The girls out there, they shouldn't feel intimidated. They shouldn't let the men make them feel that they are not enough. You are enough, and then you just need a mindset to be able to do it.
This is News 360. We have some sports news coming up next with Aniela Alote. Please stay with us.
When it comes to the world of sports, what does complete mean to you?
When my team scores at the end of a 30-plus passing sequence, just like Pep Guardiola style.
When someone beats the buzzer with a shot from the logo, like Steph Curry.
Dominating opponents and punching my waist to a knockout like Africa's greatest boxer, Azumah Nelson.
Running so fast that I can afford to celebrate midway through a 100-meter race and smash the world record like Usain Bolt.
Hold up. What makes all of these sports complete is the screen. This is where you get access to all the extensive highlights, analysis, and insights. So do join us every Sunday at 6 p.m. live on 3FM 92.7 as we serve you the best sports buffet and most satisfying in the sports world. The 3 Sports team will come together to review, preview, and analyze the latest in the sports world here on Sports Ultras.
What's your take on an ideal guy?
I'm attracted to sapiosexuals.
Oh, sapiosexuals? Cool.
The smart guy.
See, I am one.
What's your take for the constitutional review?
See, they are really disturbing. They are worrying. Review. Constitutional review. The call for a constitutional review is not a bad call.
Really?
At all. Especially in the light of the fact that some laws have outlived their usefulness.
It's just gentlemen. I think Afena-Gyan.
Afena-Gyan? Who doesn't know Afena-Gyan? Excellent footballer. Dangerous. Tactical.
There's this show on TV. It's a music show. Mentor.
I like Mentor. See, my family watches Mentor. Everybody. Hey, see, everywhere Mentor.
Where are they show?
Eh?
Where are they show?
Mentor's gonna take you higher.
Don't be clueless. Stay on top of issues with 3news.com and tune in to Media General's radio platforms on the go using 3news.com. We are on a mission promoting access to quality health and education through the power of our media space.
It's time for sports here on News 360. I am Aniela Alote. We begin with round 23 of the Ghana Premier League. Accra Hearts of Oak did not fare well away from home as Karela United handed them a 3-0 defeat thanks to an own goal from Kunedu Yadom and a goal each from Emmanuel Owusu-Boakye and Richard Beku. Let's take a look at the highlights.
Mohammed on the right side is looking for options.
Now Richard Berko, he's got Aya in front of him. Berko is trying to get to Aya, but clearly Yadom desperately trying to keep the ball in for the Phobians. Fatal sends the cross in, and it's a first goal for Karela. Owusu-Boakye has put the pride and passion ahead. Beautiful goal. There's a beautiful switch, and here is Aya. He's seen a lot of the balls and he's been impressive. He pulls 1-2 for Fatal. Fatal sends a cross, and it's the second goal. Karela breaking the hearts of the Phobians here in Anyinase. An own goal. Karela for a third, and Karela grabbed the third. 3-0. And the young boy will applaud the third Karela goal. So against the round of play.
It's a bad day. It's a bad day. But I think we didn't play badly. We didn't play badly, but defensively we were poor today. Because you give your opponent time and space and he will punish you. And that was what happened today. The finishing was poor because we had a couple of chances that should be a goal. But unfortunately, higher.
I'm really happy, but for the boys. Because I've taken them through and they are now responding to treatment. So that's why I said the victory is for them.
Earlier this morning on Warm-Up Plus, sports broadcaster Benjamin Willie Graham spoke on the current form and decision to bench Black Stars captain Andre Dede Ayew in Ghana's Africa Cup of Nations qualifier against Angola at the Baba Yara Sports Stadium.
Let's not, kid ourselves here, because we've spoken extensively, or some football fans have said lots. Yes, Andre has got the experience, he's got everything, but really isn't that phase of his life where he can give you 100% when you expect. It's like having Zlatan Ibrahimovic coming off the bench at age 41.
Yesterday he came off the bench.
Yes. Yeah. And you expect that he should start a game at 41. No, you don't expect that to happen. But obviously you introduce him and let him understand that, listen, I need you, but I need you at a certain time in the game. It's up to the player to also accept the fact that, you know what, this is it. I am at the twilight of my career. I cannot, be assured of a starting role. But if I'm giving 20 or 30 minutes, I must give my 100%. For me, it's communication. It's about letting the person understand. Maybe previously we think that, oh, just don't call him at all for him to come. But somebody says, no, you come. You are more or less at the face of the team.
Heading over to season 9 of 3FM's Fat to Fit. After 60 days of an intense training and wellness program, Salifa Lawson came out on top, losing 12.9 kilograms.
Season 9 of 3FM's Fat to Fit campaign came to an exciting end after 60 days of detailed menu plan, weekly aerobics and gym sessions. Fat to Fit, partnered by 3FM and supported by Duffy's and Verna, had lots of participants gracing the occasion. Head of 3FM, Lois Kisiedu, expressed satisfaction with this season's turnout.
I think we're all achievers. I mean, for making it this far, everybody here, congratulations to everybody. If you couldn't make it to the top, it doesn't mean that you haven't made any effort, no. But like I said, everybody and their body type. And so it will take time for some people, others it will be a faster route. So please let's carry on with the routine that we have. This is a lifestyle. And so if we lose the weight now and we go back to our old habits, we're going to gain again.
Salifa Lawson came first after 60 days challenge, shredding 12.9 kilograms ahead of second place Diana Ewuji, who lost 11.4 kilograms. Comfort Echampong also followed keenly with 11.1 kilograms of weight loss, while Jean-Marie Wellrich lost 11 kilograms. The winner of the day shared her excitement after receiving attractive prizes from sponsors, including a free gym membership at the Plush Fitness One Gym, packs of Verna mineral water, and products from Duffy's Health and Beauty. CEO of Fat to Fit Ghana, Akoto de Gross, encouraged participants to ensure that their weight loss journey becomes a lifestyle and not a means to an end.
The certificate is just an icing on the cake. So if you didn't get the certificate, please don't be sad. It's just an icing on the cake. The real happiness you should have is the changes you should see in your body and embarking on the challenge. I know, for example, Janet like this, she did very well on this challenge. She joined us very late, but her result was very, very remarkable.
That will be all for sports this evening. I am Aniela Alute. Up next is entertainment news.
Entertainment news segment is brought to you by Awake Purified Drinking Water and powered by 3 Entertainment.
Entertainment analyst Edem Mensah Chotome has advised artists to build the capacity of their core management members to help advance their careers. To him, most artists with sustainable careers in music do so with the help of great managers.
How come a lot of these other artists from Nigeria, from Tanzania are getting the attention and we're not getting? Is it management, Edem?
It's part. I mean, the kind of people you have, because the management needs to be able to plug you. And one thing that we need to do properly as an industry, especially artists, is when you are getting the money, try and invest in people or invest in getting people who will help your craft. Because if you have the money and you don't want to invest the money into certain areas, but you always want to keep the money to yourself, definitely your craft will stagnate. If you employ the right people, invest in them to work for you, definitely they are going to get you the right spots.
But what happens to your boys that you started with?
You can invest in them as well. That, okay, now I need the right PR mix for my music. Let me invest in this guy to go and learn more about PR, marketing, digital marketing. Now distribution of music has changed. So how are you getting the right mix as part of your team? Now some of them want to do everything by themselves, which is difficult because even the labels we have in the world have different roles for different people to play. So how much more an independent artist? How can you, if the labels are not doing it by themselves, by having other plugs? It means that as an independent artist, you need to have certain kind of people around you to be able to get your craft going.
Still on entertainment, Ghanaian dancehall star Shatta Wale has gifted Kumasi-based comic actor, YouTuber and influencer Dr. Likey a new car. The gesture is in appreciation for Dr. Likey's support for his works and also for using his influence to promote ride-hailing platform Shaxi.
Well-loved actor and YouTuber Dr. Likey pulled up on Friday afternoon in the company of some famous Kumawood actors, directors and skit producers to receive his gift from Shatta Wale, a new Hyundai Elantra. Dr. Likey was grateful to Shatta Wale for the kind gesture. Entertainment personality Sammy Flex and entrepreneur and close ally of Shatta movement, Prince Henry Rich Game, did the presentation on behalf of the acclaimed musician.
For the next 1 year, anytime Dr. Likey moves this car, anytime he goes around with this car and anything happens to the car, he wants to take care of the maintenance. It is just to make sure the car is on the road.
Renowned Kumawood actor Wayosi is wowed by the act of generosity.
And our hip-hop mogul Jay-Z has seen his net worth soaring to a new height. He boasts of a fortune of $2.5 billion. According to a Forbes report on Friday, March 24, Jay-Z is now the wealthiest person on the planet, French business magnate Bernard Arnault, CEO of LVMH, Moet Hennessy, Louis Vuitton, currently sits at number 1 on the list with a reported valuation of $216.1 billion, report access showbiz.com. It's now time for some international news.
Ukraine's commander-in-chief says the battle for Bakhmut, the Ukrainian city which Russia has spent months trying to capture, is stabilizing. Valery Zaluzny said Ukrainian troops' tremendous efforts were holding back Russia. Earlier this month, Western officials estimated between 20,000 and 30,000 Russian troops had been killed or injured in Bakhmut since last summer. Moscow is eager for a victory after failing to make major recent gains. Despite this, military analysts believe Bakhmut has little strategic value, with the city's importance now symbolic. Analysts say the high number of Russian casualties may be the main reason Ukraine has not withdrawn from the city.
And that's how we bring the bulletin to an end. Thank you very much for spending the last hour with us. I am Martin Asiedu Date.
My name is Aisha Yakubu Khalid. Enjoy the rest of our programs and have a good evening.
This program is rated PG. It contains scenes of brief nudity, mild violence, and strong language.